Now that we want to start to talk about the actual types of positions, the types of jobs that are out there, we really need to look at this urban water cycle or this human water cycle because that kind of gives us a great overview of where and what happens to water. And then if you think about it, there are all sorts of different jobs and positions out there making sure that happens, right? So all the water has to start somewhere, whether it starts up in a reservoir like you see in this picture in the top left-hand corner, whether it starts as groundwater, ocean water, whatever it may be, that water starts somewhere. And we have to move that water from its source to get it to the treatment plant. So we have to distribute that water, right? So that's our distribution operators. And so once that water makes its way to the water treatment plant, that's kind of where our water treatment operators take over. And that water is treated to whatever standards it may be, depending on the state of the country you're living in. Then that treated water is then distributed to our homes and businesses, right? So you get back at that water distribution aspect. Now, after that water is used by our homes, businesses, schools, whatever it may be, that wastewater now needs to be collected. Right? And there are many positions in wastewater collections ensuring that the waste gets from A to B, and point B being the wastewater treatment plant. And so once it gets to that wastewater treatment plant, that's where our treatment plant operators take over. Water is then treated, cleaned up to whatever particular standard that treatment plant operates, and depending on what beneficial use is occurring after that. Let's just look at the class example of that recycled wastewater now being used for, say, irrigation purposes. And so there's a whole nother set of distribution jobs, making sure that that recycled water doesn't get cross-contaminated with any of our drinking water or any of our sewer systems. That'd be your cross connection type positions. And then that water needs to make its way to its end use, the golf course, parkway strips, agriculture, whatever that may be. And so, depending on where we get our water, water can come from really far away. In particular, I want to highlight the State Water Project, where water starts way up in Northern California. If anyone's familiar with Lake Oroville, tallest dam in the United States, that's where much of our drinking water makes its way from or starts from. And so I like to say that all water passes through the capital, meaning that there is a lot of legality behind water and there's a lot of legislation and a lot of regulation. And that all kind of ties together with lawmakers in Sacramento. And then, of course, there's always sort of the public aspect of water. As it moves through Sacramento, it also moves to the public eye. And really, that's where you have your board of directors interacting with the public, interacting with your managers at different agencies. That water continues to travel down the State Water Project over 500 miles, where it then gets to Southern California, where we then end up treating that water.